Hey everybody, this is McKay Simpson. I am the Senior Minister of University United Methodist Church on LSU's campus here in Baton Rouge, and this is another Midweek Devotional, this time for the first week in August 2022. You know, it is a great time of new beginnings and transition, whether you talk about the turn that we are feeling with back to school time, or if you're thinking about our series that we just finished, Child Again, that we've been walking through the whole summer, talking about creativity and wonder and how it can break open new possibilities in our lives and especially in our life with God. This past Sunday, we had our walk with wonder. And it's been amazing to be able to see the pictures and the witnesses of all of your courage that you've displayed over the past couple of months, leaning into maybe a new thing, trying something different that some of you didn't know or even had never experienced before. Art and writing and cooking and just different things that you offered. And even though I wasn't able to be there in person because of Sabbath vacation with my family, it was a sight to behold. And I'm so thankful for the ways that you leaned in as well as I did in trying to see what would happen in our minds and in our hearts when we open ourselves up to the thing that maybe we are not fully equipped or confident in doing. I know I participated in that too, and you'll see evidence of that this Sunday in the fellowship hall with some friends that invited me into this practice. One of our members, Jan Daly, has come to know that I obviously love music and sing from time to time in worship and have been in choirs and things like that before, kind of like the person that drafts off the next one, an okay voice, but someone that doesn't quite read music super well. And choir stuff works for that. But she invited me to try something a little harder, singing in a barbershop quartet of women. Never done that before, super intimidated about it. And but these ladies were so gracious and gave me a whole new piece of music to learn. And the first practice, I went into the room and totally whiffed on it. Completely didn't know what I was doing. I thought I knew the notes. And then when the other harmonies came in, I lost myself. I lost my grounding, my footing, my sense of knowing what I was doing. And so I had to go back to the drawing board and continue to learn and continue to try. And it was a really humbling experience, but one that made me more curious and maybe persistent. And in some ways kind of helped me take myself a little less seriously because they gave permission for that too. And so we finally kind of put things together, and it was just a great experience of creating something different and something beautiful that I think other people will enjoy. So I know a lot of you have done that, and really, Karen, when she was talking last week in the Midweek Devotional about that process of creativity, about how will we fill our blank canvas or in whatever activity that we do, she said something particularly that I want to step off of this morning, particularly the question around how will we fill our time and our very lives as we approach whatever blankness is in our future or in the next days ahead. And so in the next series that we're going to be doing through August, it's going to be talking about that reset, maybe accepting the new thing that God might be allowing to emerge right among us or underneath us. That work in the dark, in the soil of growth, that often the work, the holy work, is not really seen or detected until it kind of breaks forth into the surface. And I trust that that is something that is always happening in each and every one of us, whether we are keenly self-aware about that movement in us or not. There's always been a life scripture that I've held to my heart over the years in various seasons. And it is from Romans 12, verse 2, from the words of Paul to the church in Rome, talking about a new life in Christ and how we continue to make ourselves available for that. And he says very simply, I'm going to paraphrase it from my fuzzy memory, but it's something to the effect of, do not be transformed by this world, but be open to the renewing of your mind, so that you might be open and available to God's will and desire for your life, a will and desire that is good and that is pleasing and that is perfect. And I think that that's something that is a great idea, but sometimes harder to do in the busy hustle and bustle of things that we experience. I've been trying to continue to remain open and check myself and go in that road of accepting and even embracing ignorance and being comfortable with doubt in all of the things that I face in ministry and also in motherhood and life, friendships, all of that. And so I've been reading toward that end. One book in particular I just finished, from an organizational psychologist, Adam Grant. You may have encountered him on his Instagram feed before, or some different writings that he's put out into the world. But he wrote a book called Think Again: How to Know What You Really Don't Know. And he was examining the posture that we bring to life, individuals, but particularly different types of people in different roles in the world. People like prosecutors and politicians, even preachers, and then scientists. In the first three, he talks about the different bias that they display, that really we as human beings show and encounter and kind of embody in all sorts of different ways, particularly biases like a confirmation bias, having a lens to see what we expect to see. You know, we come in with a preconceived notion about what we should be, or what we should do, or what should happen. And we look to basically find what would feed that idea. And then desirability bias, what we want to see, what we want to be true. We can see that, of course, in the public stage and the conversations that all sorts of people are having that cause, strife and consternation and some level of tension in the public stage. But he really invited us to have a little bit more of an open mind, like a scientist would. That as we approach anything new in life, or maybe a question that we're holding about what is going on or what is ahead, that we would have maybe a hypothesis, an idea of what we think might happen, but a complete openness to what the outcome might be, with no real attachment to what that answer might be, and being okay if it's something different than what we expected on the outset. Again, I think that's really hard to do. But part of it is actually accepting that we are not static creatures all of the time. I heard a quote from Michelle Obama in an interview that she gave. I can't remember exactly what source or who she was talking to, but it was really simple reflection that she gave about what she watches when people interact with children. You know, very simple questions that people ask to try to engage with young people to get to know them better. One in particular: what are you going to be when you grow up? As if it is this very frozen kind of one-shot sense of what our identity will be in the world. You know, you graduate high school, go to college or trade school, you declare that major and that thing that you will become, that cog you will be in the world's wheel, and that's it. Anybody who's lived for a while knows, as I do, that couldn't be anything further from the truth. That we are different iterations of ourselves in various times of our lives. If we really are listening, becoming self-aware, and if we are in the flow of our life with God, and the ways that God will continue to twist and turn the experience of what it is to live in this beautiful created world. And so that's what I hope for us today, that whatever you might be resetting, either by your own initiation, or maybe by necessity because you've kind of hit the wall, or like any of us, you're on the struggle bus right now trying to ramp up or keep up with everything going on in your scope of influence. My prayer is that freshness will not be something that you fear, that new thing might be something that you welcome, and that really you'll be open to the creative work that will happen in you and me as we continue to discover what our why is, what we are meant to do in the world, and that do wouldn't be a should or an obligation, but a deep privilege. I'll close with just a really simple story that I found from Adam Grant's Reflections. He said, in ancient Greece, Plutarch wrote of a wooden ship that Theseus sailed from Crete to Athens. And to preserve the ship and its old planks that are decayed, Athenians would replace them with new wood. You see where I'm going here, maybe. Eventually, all the planks had been replaced at one point, and it looked like the same ship, but none of its parts were exactly the same. Was it still the same ship? Later, philosophers, he said, had a wrinkle. If you collected all of the original planks and fashioned them into a ship, wouldn't that be the very same ship as well? I don't know how you would answer to that kind of philosophical question of what it means to exist. But it's the freshness and the newness that if we really look at the way that human beings are made, we continue to slough off the dead and open up to that which is being reborn, whether it be from our skin, in our hearts, or in our spiritual lives. And so I pray that you'll find the one thing, even the one very small thing, that you can reset as a new habit, as a new way of being or thinking, and continue to practice that discipline day after day after day until it becomes the most natural thing to you and will be a source of new life for you and those around you that you hold in your care. And that if you need help with that or want to talk through that, that you'll lean on us, whether you're part of our online community or you're one of those who continues to be with us in person. We want to be there for you in this work of discernment and discovery every step of the way. I hope you have a wonderful day, friends, and that we'll see you soon in whatever platform you find us. Be well and continue to trust God's transforming new work in you and me.